I am about halfway through my very first 72-hour fast. I feel great.
You've done fast before, though.
I have. I've gone up to about 45 hours. I really love fasting. I feel amazing. And I had this last night, not as much this morning, but last night. It's the Zen. It's the ultimate Zen, where everything just feels like it's turned down. And I feel very calm and peaceful and still. And then the other times I feel really nice and energetic too. And yeah, I just love fasting. And it's been a while since I've done one.
Well, not too long ago, I attempted to do a 72-hour fast.
Yeah.
And I had to quit at hour 56. Even though my ketones were like 2.7.
Okay.
I felt terrible. And I started feeling terrible. And I only felt worse with every passing hour. And that's what this video is about.
Very different experiences. So I am JJ. A warm welcome to you all. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat mostly meat.
And have for nearly 3 years.
Yes. And so it's a mystery why, when I went water fasting, did I feel so bad?
Yeah.
Well, comes down to one basic thing. Metabolic flexibility. Now hold up. Some people will assert there's no such thing as metabolic flexibility. Yeah. And I'm here to say, I think there is. And we're going to talk about what it is and why it may exist in JJ and not a moi.
Yeah.
Which is Miss Piggy for me.
Yes. Took me a second there. Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because my carnivore diet has always looked a lot like a little more flexibility, right? I've talked about how when I started the diet, I would have a salad every week or two even, going to a restaurant where there were no other options. It's a very special, important social event that I have. And so yeah, some extra little carbs might have snuck in during those days.
Right. And it almost seems like, well, shouldn't that keep you from being keto adapted?
And the truth is, I don't think it did. I got my best gains in that period of time where that was happening. And I experienced more Zen. I experienced weight loss. I lost I lost more than 30 pounds. I had my hormones come much more into balance. I was able to reduce my thyroid, good energy. Everything pointed to being keto adapted. Now, I was not measuring at that time. Yeah. But life was good when I had that little bit of variation.
But there's another component to this.
Okay. What is it?
That isn't your salads.
Okay.
It's that you fasted a lot.
That is true. Yeah. That is very true. It's always been a part of my journey. Is I actually was into doing intermittent fasting before I even started keto and carnivore. Yeah.
So you were doing weekly 40-hour fasts.
Yes. Yeah.
So you were dipping into deep ketosis once a week at least.
Yes. Yes.
And then probably sustaining some nightly ketosis.
Absolutely.
Every night.
Yeah. Clearly.
And that's what it really comes down to. When I first got into keto, it was way, way, way back in the early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s. And I read the book by, I think, Jeff Volek, and they were talking about how athletes who got keto adapted were able to sustain themselves for a long, long time. And we had all of the beneficial effects of ketones on higher energy and all that type of stuff. And I successfully lost weight many times.
Yes, you did.
On ketosis.
Yes, you did.
And I measured my ketones. I got into deep ketosis. I'm sure that I was keto adapted at various phases during that period of time. But here I am nearly 3 years into carnivore, which is basically no carbs on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And yet, when I went at water fasting, it really seemed like I was going straight into keto flu and not getting any of the benefits. So here's the thing. There was a great video. I wish I could link to it. I think it was Dr. Boz showed this cycle of a child's energy burning substrate over the course of the day. And during the day, it would be more glucose centered. And then they would stop eating. And then at night, the child would dip right into ketogenesis and burn ketones. And the morning ketones would be high. And then slowly that would switch back over to glucose burning. And so the child would do this very readily, which was a sign that the child's mitochondria were happy with either ketones or glucose.
Correct. Yep.
And your ability to go into a fast and feel great is a sign that your mitochondria is happy to burn ketones when they're available.
Yeah.
When I went to the water fast and my blood sugar kept dropping and dropping and dropping, it got down to a 70, not something would be alarming for almost anybody. I felt worse and worse and worse. And this is a sign that my mitochondria, despite having been on carnivore all this time, were not well keto adapted. And this kind of checks out because when I started checking my ketones, I started being surprised by the fact that on the Keto Mojo, I'd get 0.3, maybe 0.4, but often 0.2, which if you've ever used a Keto Mojo was basically 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of illuminating, but what I wasn't doing was fasting at all. I mean, I hated water fasting because it always felt terrible to me.
And this was a clue for me because we had a lot of discussions around this at the time because you are hungry at every mealtime, or you were. I think things are shifting a little now, but you were hungry at every meal. And if you talk to any
carnivore, if
you talk to any carnivore, you see that they are usually eating 1, maybe 2 meals a day, and between meals, not hungry. And that's what I experienced. I was not hungry between meals, but you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. It's time to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, you weren't eating enough fat. You were eating too much protein. You weren't eating enough fat. You were eating too much protein. You weren't eating enough fat. You were eating too much protein. You weren't eating enough fat. You were eating... Do you want to say it a couple of times?
No.
Okay, I've done the comment. You don't need to leave the comment.
But you were also advised not to eat too much fat.
Right. It was...
Yeah.
We don't... So what is the metabolic flexibility mechanism in the mitochondria? Well, here's the deal. Your body tries to be pretty efficient. So if you're not producing ketones in the liver, your body downregulates the production of mitochondrial enzymes that are needed to use the ketones for energy. And those enzymes are things like SCOT, which is a acronym for a very long phrase, and beta hydroxybutyrate dehydrogenase is another one, and there's still another one. And if the production of those enzymes is downregulated, the high ketones come in and the cell can't use it efficiently. And so on a fast where my blood sugar had been cruising, around 100 or 105, 110 sometimes at that point, it's actually the reason why I did the fast was to pressure that. And now it's 70. The body is actually sensitive to the difference in blood sugar, not the absolute value of the blood sugar.
Can you say that again?
The body is sensitive to the difference in your normal blood sugar and where it goes, not to the absolute number, which is why you can see long-term keto or carnivores who can cruise at a blood sugar of 55, 60. They can dip down to 49 like you did recently and feel fine.
Yeah.
But if you had been cruising at a blood sugar of 100 and you went there and your mitochondria weren't ready to go, you would feel like you were
awful,
hypoglycemic.
Yeah.
And what's the response to hypoglycemia by the body? Cortisol is released. And cortisol is released to tell the liver, hey, give me some glucose.
Wake up.
Make it, release it, whatever you've got, and start gluconeogenesis.
Yeah.
You're on a fast. You're not eating any protein. You don't have much substrate. So while the liver can continue to make some glucose from, say, glycerol, which is part of the triglyceride backbone that holds the fatty acids together, it can use that to make some glucose. But there's just not enough to get your glucose up to the comfort level. And so you're kind of just at survival level, and the cortisol keeps saying, liver, do it. And the liver's like, I got nothing. And then the person, me, feels terrible.
Yeah. Dr. Boz said that actually in that state, your mitochondria sort of downregulate. And that is part of the issue too. That's right.
So yeah, what you're saying is, I'm on a fast. I'm not able to burn the ketones very efficiently. I don't have much glucose. So the body responds, the mitochondria respond by, let's burn less energy.
Yeah.
Let's go into conservation mode, which makes the individual feel low energy.
Garbage.
Because even if they want to do something, they're just like, my mitochondria, they suck. And they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is was so hard for me to get my mind around, having been carnivore so long. But yes, I wouldn't consider myself a low-fat carnivore.
No.
But it was 65-35 when you look at calories from fat versus calories from protein. And that is below the threshold for me, apparently. The reason I was doing that was because my triglycerides were stubbornly high. And when I did a high-fat experiment, they went way up. Now, there was some nuance to that. We discussed it in a different video. And so it's not really important to this discussion. It's just there was context for why I was doing it that way. So what is this? Why then? So that explains why I felt terrible.
Yeah.
But why does JJ feel extra good? Because you feel better when you're deep into the fast than when you're just eating normally day to day.
And I feel great day to day. Yet in the fast, it is so sweet. It's so good. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the rationale was there'd be abundant energy available. And because you're not eating, you're not getting any insulin spikes that are kind of dropping a little bit of blood sugar or something. And so it's super even. And it's even at a high rate so that the mitochondria are just like, all right, we got it. Plus, we know that the brain seems to really love ketones.
Yes.
But there's another aspect is that glucose burning in the brain actually releases some inflammatory byproducts, which keto burning doesn't.
Now say that again.
So glucose burning in the brain releases some byproducts that are locally inflammatory. I'm not saying they're turning your brain into a dumpster fire. They're just, this is mildly inflammatory. Whereas the ketones, when they're burnt, don't have that. But there's another component to this, which is that beta hydroxybutyrate, which is like the main ketone body that we think of, is itself anti-inflammatory in the brain, in other tissues in the body.
Yeah.
So the idea is that just having that flush in the brain is just like this cooling bath for the brain. That's how I imagine it.
Yeah. I can grok that.
But that's partly because your brain mitochondria are ready to go.
Yeah, they are primed for the ketones, and I've got the enzymes for using the ketones. And what I wonder though is, even though you're saying it's not a dumpster fire, right? I wonder if mild inflammation causes extra thinking. Like if it excites the brain into having more thoughts.
Well,
I don't know.
Funny you should say that because the books we recommend in almost every episode talk about that very thing. And they are Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind by Dr. Georgia Ede and Brain Energy by Dr. Chris Palmer, both psychiatrists who have very successfully clinically used ketogenic diets to treat some very intransigent mental health problems. And the theory is that you get the ketones in there, that's anti-inflammatory, it's a clean energy for the brain, among other things. So I think that's very likely to be true, but I had done deeper ketosis experiments for a few days and didn't feel the benefit.
Yes.
And if you know me, I think that in many ways I'm exceptional. that if it takes other people a month to get a benefit, I expect it that day.
That's about right. Yeah. Yep.
And shocker, it doesn't always happen that way. So the argument would be, Eric, you need to get into deeper ketosis for longer to really get the adaptation. But here's another little quirk.
Yeah.
You would think that, well, if I just white knuckled it through the water fast long enough, my mitochondria would have woken up, expressed the enzymes they needed, and everything would have turned around. And maybe it would. We don't know if that would have happened at the 72nd hour or the 21st day. But having been listening to Dr. Boz in this course that you've been taking, and having seen directly the fact that you get into deeper ketosis eating sardines than eating nothing but water, has been a real eye-opener to me.
Yeah.
But I did the sardine fast with you, and I didn't get the higher ketones.
Because?
As we mentioned in our recent video, because I drained the water that my sardines was in, and I didn't add any fat while you were eating sardines that were in olive oil. Now, that olive oil may have caused you a problem.
Yes, yes.
But it did not prevent you from making massive quantities of ketones. You got to a high of
6.9 on the ketone scale there.
Which if you were diabetic would be an alarming reading. But for you, it was fine.
It was fine.
But I got like a 1.7 or 1.8 or something like that. I don't remember what I got
Was
up
that
to.
after you introduced fat?
Yeah, and that was after I added a little bit of butter after I ate the sardines.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is that if I'm not going to go straight to a water fast, that's just pure torture for me, is that I want to do something that mimics the sardine fast without having to eat only sardines because I just did it. And frankly,
it's too soon.
While I like them fine when I'm hungry, I don't like them when I'm not hungry or when I've had them already that day. So I think that there's an experiment to be tried to maybe using egg yolks and bacon and butter or something to kind of mimic it. I don't want to do just a fat fast. I want a little bit of protein in there. So something that I'm kicking over in my mind, but it seems like doing a 72-hour version of something like that and with good fats, really getting the ketones alive while staying fed so that the mitochondria don't get that we need to conserve mode signal to then allow the genes to be expressed to get the enzymes fired up so that I can burn ketones. And then maybe someday later, I could do a little water fast and see if I hit the ketone sweet spot to where I really finally feel the benefit.
Yeah. And one thing I want to stress is Dr. Boz talks about this being not a one and done. So if you've experienced metabolic dysregulation, which we all have, it's not that you can do this sardine fast or sardine mimicking fast once and have everything fixed. I know.
But I'm different.
It can be a process, and that's why she recommends doing it for a cycle of several weeks in a row. Yeah. To really, because it's epigenetic type things, right?
I don't want to do it.
I know. But it's a really important part of the message is that your body is very stuck in a groove. It's what it does. And just shaking it up once does not necessarily just reset the whole system immediately, but you should see progress. That's the thing. And I was seeing progress because I had issues with my ketones going down and my blood sugars creeping up when we implemented that new sort of eating plan just this summer. I started to see progress, but it's still not where it's considered total insulin resistance reversal yet.
But you're way more flexible.
But my flexibility,
my
flexibility is good. I feel like I'm on a really good path.
if I maintain my current eating pattern, which sees me having morning ketones, this morning they were 0.8, I want to say. So that's it's the above the 0.5.
Yep.
That's nutritional ketosis. A bit of an artificial number, but for whatever reason, my blood sugar was 92 or something this morning. But that's a massive improvement from where it had been.
Yeah.
So the adjustments we've made have already made a big improvement. And if I continued that and continued to see that, my mitochondria would be getting exposure and being more likely to start expressing those enzymes. If instead I was really insulin resistant and I wasn't able to ever get any morning ketones, then the Sardine challenge technique would almost be mandatory to break through that blockade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or an infinite fast.
Or an infinite fast.
Which nobody can survive.
Yeah.
So hopefully that was helpful. So if you've been struggling with fasts, or you know somebody who's been struggling with fasting, ever flipping the switch to make them feel good, like me, now you have a clue of how to point them in the right direction.
Or you might even have that early signal of, I am doing keto, I'm doing carnivore, but I'm ravenous when it's mealtime. That might also be an early signal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with that, every day stronger.
Every day more blessed.